all in all, what your assessment of kind of how everything went, not just the game, but the whole operation?
I can probably answer that question for a couple hours right there. There's obviously a lot to take in with it all, just operationally, offense, defense. But I was pleased how the guys offensively came out and went down the field and get points. I'd like for us to be able to finish on some of those red zone opportunities, but defense coming out with 3 straight 3-and-outs was a lot of fun to see, and so I was pleased with that.
How much adjustment for you, Joe? Just again wearing the headset as head coach, having to be aware of so much more in addition to the coordinating duties. How did you balance that? What was that like?
Yeah, no, I didn't think there was ever a moment, through the game that I was felt like I was out of it or trying to figure it all out. Look, some of the stuff, there was some intentionality behind some of the things we're doing, like, hey, it's a challenge. Like, let's make sure the communication is where it needs to be, regardless of the result of it. No, I had a lot of fun out there. I missed football, right? And so it was good. I felt like the energy on the sideline was something that we were really, preaching to the guys, and I thought it was important to them. So a lot for us to clean up, right?
What happened with the DJ when he came down awkwardly on that last catch there?
Who's that?
DJ.
Oh, DJ. Yeah, he was going to come out after that play right after that. So that was the last drive of him. So with all the medicals, I know I'm pretty vague with it in the preseason and in training camp, but he, when I talked with him, he said he was good to go. So we'll see what tomorrow looks like.
What did you think of seeing Josh? I don't think he played at all last year in the preseason. He'll lead a couple of drives to points. Were you happy with what you saw there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I want to score touchdowns every time we get the ball, right? And I felt like us being able to sustain, the discipline that it's going to take to be able to drive the ball and finish. In the first drive, I thought, we had some chunk plays, and but then we stalled, and look, T-Best, got some points on the board. And the second drive, we had a couple penalties, and look, we got bailed out of one, but look, we got the ball back and were able to score a touchdown. I thought he took some hits I naturally don't like, but I think it was actually good for him to kind of feel some of that, and but I was pleased with how the guys played. It was good to get DJ and Khalil involved, and a lot for us to clean up.
Does your heart skip a beat in those situations when he does take those hits, because that's the risk reward of playing?
Yeah, I mean, my heart skips a beat every time he gets touched throughout for the next 20 games, right? And but that's the price you pay playing football. And what I did not want is anybody to step out there today and feel like, oh, I'm playing 3 drives, or I'm going to play 10 plays, and I wanted them waking up with the mindset that they're going to play 70, and and so if you dip your toe in, that's when injuries happen. And so I'm yelling at him to get rid of some of the football, some of the balls, but look, that's the way he plays football, and I don't want to take that out of him too.
I feel like Deion Walker briefly out there, but he was everywhere. In 9 snaps, I think he was involved in 3 of the tackles. Is he a guy that could be emerging as, a real stud for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like he was a emerging stud last year, going back and obviously watching the tape with it. And I mean, he's so mature. He's his size and his length and his versatility up front. Like a limited role today, you felt him out on the football field, and what that does for Ed Oliver, what that does for the other guys. I mean, that's huge. And like I say all the time, we got to be able to stop the run, and a guy with his size and length and the versatility with it helps that.
Keon got in the end zone. What did you make of that play in his afternoon?
Yeah, I love scramble. You get in the red zone, rarely are plays thrown on time, and it was we had a movement play, and I think the DN pinched, and we were a little quick on the flat with Dawson, but Josh extending plays, and we always say scramble's going to be the best play in our playbook. You get in the red zone and just being able to extend it, and Josh finding Keon and just making the plays, right? That's the big thing of the preseason. Is let's not make the game plan is not a part of it. Let's just do the basics, at an elite level, and it was good to see them capitalize on it.
Joe, it looked like Keon maybe got banged up that last catch he had. Is there any concern on him?
No, they were both good. Him and DJ were both good. Talking to them after. Again, we'll see what the medical ends up looking like.
What did you make of the energy that the rookies played with?
I'm sorry.
What did you make of the energy that just the guys on defense?
I love it, right? I mean, you guys go back to our first day in pads, right? Everybody that started a fight was a rookie, right? And there's a mentality and the passion for football that we're looking for. And to me, this preseason game was the most important thing, right? And a lot of times, there's nothing drives me more crazy than people are like, well, it was the preseason. Like, no, we're going to compete in everything we do, and the standard is the standard. And I was pleased with. I really liked how those guys playing. Like, I don't care if it's the fourth quarter and we get a stop, like celebrating on the sideline. That's important to me. And so it was good to see those guys out there. There's going to be a lot on tape that I'm out there watching, taking notes. That's like, man, that situation or the way that we handled that play, that rookie from that. But seeing Kanai go in there and catch a pick, like those. That's fun, right? And those are moments, and they got to play football, so love it.
Hancock, another guy who just seems to be, you can use him in a lot of different spots, and he seems to flash a lot.
When he's on the football field, you notice him, right? He flies around, he makes plays, he looks like he has fun playing football, and he's a chess piece for us. And it was tough for him in the spring, right? He was out the entire spring with, didn't get to participate, and that's hard to come in here and then, be a part of the scheme without getting any reps. And but he plays football the way you want football to be played, and it was fun to see him make some of those plays today.
It's one thing to make some noise in training camp, it's important, then to translate it into the games. Can you just kind of give us your impressions of Kanai and you mentioned him making that play, but just throughout the summer?
Yeah, I think we talked about it last, after the Blue Reds practice, like some of these rookies and a guy like Kanai, like doesn't blink, right? And he didn't practice this week, right? He found out yesterday. We put him through a workout and was like, hey, you're going to go out there and we're going to go warm you up in either the second quarter or the third and halftime and get you ready to go out there and play, because we didn't want to overdo it with some of the injuries. And he was all for it, and to go in there and man be instinctual and see it and kind of trap and make the interception. I mean, that's high level play from a guy that's a rook, and I'm happy for him. There's a lot of emotions that are going on when you're just sitting on the sideline. For him to not blink, and that was pretty cool.
Tyler Bass getting a chance to kick, you guys trying to block it. Would you make of him and where he's at this stage in his recovery?
Yeah, it was good. I was hoping to probably get some punts today, but there's just nothing in me to ever want that, right? But look, T-Bass, he's going to want the one kickback, right? But I've said this before. You're never going to see me go up to him and have to say anything. And next time we go out there, I knew he was going to make it, and I didn't have any ifs, ands, or buts with that. But I was pleased to see him out on the football field kicking with us and having some confidence with it. So that was fun.
Joe, what is Skylar Bell dealing with injury-wise?
His lower body right now, getting him back. Some of it was, if it was a game, he would have been able to play today. But we also, got a joint practice in the preseason. Like, I want to be able to see these guys be able to put together some of these tough practices and games going. So look forward to kind of seeing them next week.
Joe, we talk about the preseason being important for the players, but for you, how beneficial of an experience was today out there?
It was awesome. It was good. I knew the stadium environment was going to be outstanding, but I didn't feel it, not in a bad way, but I tried not to get caught up in it. But I mean, every little detail matters in these moments, and I'm sitting there trying to make sure that the communication and the buttons on my headset is exactly how I want it. And there's some things I'm like, all right, take a note of that. I don't like that. So everything matters, and some things I was over communicating just for us to kind of go through it. Like delaying the game with a challenge. But it's everything is important, and it's opportunities for us to kind of sort through it to make sure our systems in place are where it needs to be come week one.
You talk about the emotions, all of them going through your head after Kanai's interception, but you see the way your team reacts to it. You're about to call the next play on offense. Like, for you, how hard is that to not get wrapped up in the excitement around the team and just knowing how much for a guy like Kanai that play could mean in a young guy's career?
Yeah, I believe part of my job is to kind of be the opposite of what the guys are, right? And if we have the team that we have, the team that I believe in, the importance of the connection is I don't have to be that, because the team can be that, and I can focus on the next play. And I'm so happy for him. Making plays on the football is important, but if I'm having to be the one to hype a guy after a pick, then our how isn't where it needs to be. But seeing the guys on the sideline, look, it probably would have been a penalty in a game, but I'd much rather, just like we said with the fights, I'd much rather that than be like, why aren't we celebrating the guy after an interception? So all things that we can clean up, but if we're making plays on the ball, all is well.
How specifically was the play calling while being the head coach on the sideline for you? This is your first time doing both. What was that like?
No delay of games, right? No, it was good. I'm still figuring out exactly where I want to stand and all that, but I felt like our tempo in and out the huddle, our communication on the sidelines, I didn't feel like there was ever a play where I was like, oh, what do I want to call right here? Like, it didn't feel like it was any different from the box. And no, I felt good about it. I'm one of those guys that I get mad at some calls. We had a second down in the red zone. I called the naked, and they blitzed off the edge. And in a preseason game, I don't have an alert to get us out of it. And Shane does a great job. So I get mad at some of my play calls in those situations. But the flow of getting it in and out, I thought it went smooth.
Joe, I know you guys aren't doing a lot of exotics with scheme, but Jim's group looked really good early on. How did you work the communication with him and see his guys respond?
Yeah, I wanted us to be able to. Can we master the basics? Can we play our our day one install and just do it at a high level? And there's already enough emotions of a first preseason game, and everybody flying around. And if we try to do too much, we'll slow them down. And we have a lot of volume in our defense and the playbook, but when we get to the in the games, let's just see what they can do. And it was cool to see the starters coming off, and I'm pulling them, and they want to keep going, right? And so I thought they handled it well. And look, you guys talk with Jim. Jim's outstanding, and there's a reason he's my coordinator, and I love the mentality that he brings.
You and Jim, where's that relationship come over the course of your time together? Do you kind of feel like going into this season with the expectations? I know we've talked about it, but you guys are kind of in it together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in it with everybody in that locker room, and I believe that. Like when we don't play well, it's because of me, and when we do, it's because of them. And it's no different with the coaching staff. Like we'll handle and we'll have accountability and everything, but I'm not scared to say what's on my mind, and I want a coaching staff that's not scared to, if they believe in something, they have conviction to respond with it. And we've had a lot of good dialogue in terms of the type of defense that we want, as and with the guys that we have. And but his mentality, his personality, it's exactly what I was looking for, and the guys are embracing it, and he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and I think that's exactly what I wanted.
Are you happy that you got the time you got? Because everyone thought one series you were out, and they gave you the second series. Were you happy with that?
Absolutely. Thought we executed well today. Some things to clean up, just like anything else. But it was good to see our guys go make some plays today.
What do you take away from this, Josh? If I remember correctly, I don't think you played a snap last year in the preseason, so it's different for you. So what do you take away from it personally?
Again, just live reps against other people, different team, a different defense, making sure that we're communicating different checks, and just things that happen on the field. We'll get to go in and talk about them. And hey, like if we get this look again in the season, let's try to do this. It's like just learning as we go, especially with a guy like DJ of, hey, if I see this and I give you this, do that, so.
Is it any different, Josh, with Joe wearing the head coaching hat in addition to the coordinator hat? Did you feel any of that different?
I mean, he's always been tuned in. Obviously, he's been up in the booth, so to have on the sideline is different. To have a communication and look him in the eye and understand what he's doing and why he's doing it. Now, you can't have too much time with him because he's got to be paying attention to what's going on in the game. And I was in his ear telling him to throw the challenge flag, so I'll take that one. That was on me. But yeah, I thought he did a great job of communicating well with the offense and defensive staff and understanding what was going on in the game. And no doubt it's a change for him, wearing a lot of different hats on the sideline. And then on top of that, you got to worry about when do I challenge. So you got to have a lot of trust in a lot of people. And that's what these preseason games are for, is to get reps at those things.
A lot is made about the new stadium and all this stuff, but once you get out on the field and you're making that throw to Keon, it could be anywhere kind of thing.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's something that Joe keeps preaching to us, is put the ball down. It doesn't matter when, where, what the weather is. Like, we got to go play football, and we're going to do it together.
I know there's not. You mentioned DJ earlier. Did you find yourself looking his way? I mean, he had a very productive afternoon while he was up.
Yeah, thought he had a good day. So we're going to continue to grow on that, and he's a heck of a football player, and we're lucky to have him.
Josh, was it beneficial, though, to know kind of where the play clock is, where the game clock is, the sight lines for you, and walking through that for the first time?
No doubt. And, it's different when you're in practice, and you don't have to really worry about those things. And real live game reps, albeit preseason, it's still real reps and understanding, like, when I break this huddle, where are my eyes going? I got to make sure that we have time on the play clock, and they are on different levels on each side, so just understanding that. But it's no different than going to an away game and pre-game going out there and making sure that you know exactly where everything's at. But just here, feeling comfortable with it.
Josh, without any game planning or very little game planning, how high on the priority list was getting DJ involved, especially early in the game?
I'm going to go out and make an assumption that it's going to be awesome to do that every single game, is to get him involved early and often. And, teams are going to obviously know that. But again, we feel like we have other guys that we feel comfortable with. And, you see Khalil had the first catch today, handed it off to Jimbo with Dalton and Dawson, Keon making plays. So, it's when everything's firing, we can be two-dimensional. That's when we feel like we're in a good spot.